Welcome to Canine IQ Dog Reactivity for dog trainers. This video is a short teaser for the course covering the component tolerance-based training. So the better way forward, I believe, is training that's based on tolerance as opposed to counter conditioning. So unlike traditional counter conditioning, which requires an external conditioning agent, which if not maintained can reverse over time, tolerance training requires the following. One, the use of an off switch and safety signals as a foundation behavior, where we're teaching the dog through impulse control to stop its own arousal and actually figure out how to remove the pressure through calm means and effectively disengaging to a degree from the trigger that was causing the initial problem. The dog's own actions lead to success, and the dog's internal actions are the ones that lead to success, as opposed to us trying to figure out when the dog has actually reached that form of behavior. It's not limited to one specific trigger, which effectively means it's a generalized response as opposed to a specific response, because we are now dealing with the emotion behind a behavior, not the reaction that the dog is actually giving you to that behavior. And there's a really huge difference between the two approaches. So tolerance targets the emotion behind the behavior, not the trigger specifically. And this is a fundamental part of this whole process that I'm trying to do, is the dog needs to understand the emotion behind a trigger, control its emotion, and then it's whatever the basis of the triggers that turns up is irrelevant. It's the emotion that the triggers respond or produce that the dog has to learn to control. Has to be applied to variable triggers. It just doesn't relate to one particular dog or one particular person type. It's actually irrelevant, and it produces a far more generalized and far-reaching approach. Now, the problem with this is it can't be rushed as a process. It needs to be dealt with progressively and systematically for it to actually become long-term and actually get some good long-lasting results, because the more time we spend in teaching the approach in low stress environments, so it becomes a second nature behavior or a foundation behavior, the more it's applicable to other scenarios going forward. So if we think of the benefits of tolerance-based behavior, because the dog isn't worried about its reaction once that trigger turns up, the dog learns to moderate that behavior. The tolerance component is what actually carries it through. So let's go back to that scenario before, where you've got this bombastic co-worker. In an ideal world, it shouldn't matter that you're sitting next to somebody that's quite overt or bombastic. They're allowed to be that. As a professional working in a particular environment, we need to be able to switch off and say, I don't need to relate to you. I have to work with you. I have to be civil with you, but I don't have to like you. In fact, I can hate you, but I need to realize that I can't do anything about it other than control how I feel in your presence. Then I could be working in a context or a team with 15 other people that are all bombastic, and I don't need to react to their behavior because I'm controlling how their behavior makes me feel. It's the same thing with the dog. The dog, I don't care if a dog wants to kill every dog that's around it or wants to bite every person. What I want the dog is to realize that it can't bite every dog or bite every person. It has to control the emotion behind the behavior, regardless of how it feels. Tolerance-based training, if we get it right, has far more reaching results than pure counter conditioning. Thanks for watching this video. If you like this teaser, I'm certain you will love the full courses. You'll find a link to the course in the description below. If you're interested, want to have a look at the other teaser videos as well. They're all free.